Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of my favourite PS4 exclusives of all time. So, this is the list. I'm just going to talk you through the tiers before we go into the games. So at the very top, we have Masterpiece. Some of the best games ever made, not just of the generation. Pass Me the Controller. These are the best games that didn't quite reach the top levels, but are still perfect nonetheless. Then we have Nice, pretty good games. I guess games that were okay. Turn It Off, games that were truly awful. Games that I just haven't played. And then here at the very bottom, we have Knack. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're starting off with a game that I thought was pretty good, but all in all wasn't that great. Just as a disclaimer, we do have PSVR games in here, so if you're a bit confused by some of them, that's probably what they are. Astrobot Rescue Mission. It was nice. It was alright. It wasn't for me. I had the PSVR for a couple of months, and most of the time when I played it, it made me motion sick, so I just stopped using it after a while. So, although the game was great, I didn't get that far through it myself. So for me, it just ends up in the nice column. Next up, we have another PSVR exclusive, Blood and Truth. Blood and Truth. Now, in this game, you're sort of an English mobster, sort of working with your family. I didn't get that far through it. It was okay, it just wasn't for me. It was a bit too serious. There were too many times when the combat was just a bit iffy. Very cool concept. And with the PSVR 2, if they do something similar to it, it could turn out really great. Just not too for me. Now we have a game that I literally started yesterday up next, so I don't know whether it's fair to rank it. Days Gone. I'll just put it in the haven't played category for now, but so far from what I've played, it seems pretty good. For all you know, I could come back in a week and want this to be in the masterpiece section, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. Next up, we have a truly great game called Dreams. It's dependent what I think. The game itself isn't that great, and I can't make anything in it, but some of the stuff that people have made in this game is truly amazing. Pass me the controller. Pass me the controller and let me play the fun levels, just don't make me make anything. It's a truly great game. If you haven't got it, they do free trials every once in a while for it, and it's also quite cheap on the store. I'm pretty sure it's only about £25. So if you haven't tried it out, I really would recommend it. Next up, we have Drive Club VR. Now it's dependent what type of Drive Club we're ranking here. If it's the VR version, we're getting up to the top. If it's a normal version, we're getting a bit low down here. So I'll go, I guess. It's okay. The game itself isn't comparable to Forza, so I'm just going to leave it there. Next up, we have yet another game that's probably better on VR than the actual game itself is. Everybody's Golf. I loved Everybody's Tennis on my DS or PSP. On PSP. On VR, it's quite fun. Gets quite boring after a while. So it's good, I guess. Next up, we have a game that I loved but haven't finished. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Give me the goddamn controller. I just got stuck on this bit and then I just never played it again. I don't know why. I haven't played it for almost a year, but I thought it was great. It's the first Final Fantasy I've properly played. I played a bit of 12 when that came out, however, many years ago. I wanted to dabble in 15, but I thought I would get a bit lost. So 7 was a great proper starting point for me. Really good game. If you haven't checked it out, it's free this month on PS Plus. Sony should just hire me at this point, to be honest, because I love PlayStation. If you couldn't tell. Now, I had to like stare down and look at this next game because I've never heard of it. It's called Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Everyone's favourite game. I'm so sorry I haven't played it, guys. God, sorry. We also have Farpoint next, which is a game I must admit I haven't played. This list more than anything has just made me realise how many games I haven't played. Next up, we have some people's favourite game of last year, Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, whoa, okay, I didn't mean to do that. I love Ghost of Tsushima. It's one of the best PS4 games. Is it one of the best games of all time? Is it a true masterpiece? I think it is. I think it is. There was just something about that game. It was the Assassin's Creed that everyone had been asking for years, that Ubisoft just didn't want to make. Sucker punched the infamous developers, went and made it, and everyone loved it. Shock horror, everyone had been asking for it for years. If you haven't played it, go out and buy it. It's still like 40 quid to buy second hand, so if you can't get one cheap second hand, just go and buy it off the PlayStation store. If you have a voucher or something from friends and family for Christmas or your birthday, go out and buy it. I really would recommend it. It's a great game. Next up, we have a truly undisputable masterpiece, God of Boy. What do I need to say? Kratos, Atreus, or spoilers, Loki? A really good story, really great combat, a fun world to explore. What hasn't been said about this game? Truly, if you haven't, please go and buy it. It's a PlayStation hit. It's only £15. I really would recommend it. Oh, now we have a game I also haven't played, Gravity Rush 2. I heard really good things about the first one. I heard mixed about the second in comparison to the first, so I never checked it out. I'm sure it is quite good. Then we have Gran Turismo Sport, a game that I bought purely for VR. It was better than Drive Club, so I can't put it in the same section as Drive Club. It was alright. I haven't played it much out of VR. Can I give it a nice? I think I will, because nice is okay. Nice is just middle ground, and I thought it was a middle ground game. It doesn't compare to other races. I always go on about Forza Horizon 4. I think it's one of the best races of recent years. So, yeah. Next up, our first PlayLink game. Now, if you don't know what PlayLink is, it's basically games that you can play with your friends and family on your phones. They're a really good idea, and I'm not sure why Sony haven't made more of them. Maybe they just haven't been successful. I'm not too sure. But Hidden Agenda is one of the better ones. I can't give it any higher than nice because it's not a proper game. I'm going to sound a bit hypocritical later, but it's a good game. It's fun. Now we have Motion Sickness, The Experience. Honestly, this game I had so much fun playing, but I couldn't play it for more than 5 minutes at a time, and it was the last straw that made me sell my VR. Iron Man VR. In one way, it's up here. In another way, it's down here because of how sick it made me play. Can I rate a game that badly purely because it made me ill? I was sick for days after having played this game. They say that one of the rules when you make a VR game, don't do levels. You can go forwards and back, left and right, that's fine. But if you start going up and down, that just messes with people's brain, and that's what makes them sick. And when you're playing Iron Man, funnily enough, you go up and down quite a lot. I'm going to be mean to it. I'm going to give it turn it off. It's not because the game is bad. It's just because I physically had to turn it off every 5 minutes that I was playing it. No other reason apart from that, though. I'm sure it's a great game. Next up, we have two games that were pretty good. They're both related. We have Infamous Second Son and Infamous First Light. First Light is definitely not any better than I guess. And I think Second Son's slightly better, but I don't think it's on the level of Dreams and Final Fantasy VII. So I think I'm going to stick with their places there. We then have Judgment, which I must admit I didn't play. When I first saw it, like the idea of it, the reviews were awful, so it put me off spending any money on it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time you've all been waiting for. It's Knack! What a masterpiece. I'm not sure why the Knack column isn't at the top of my list. I'm really... I must have made a mistake. I am sorry. But yeah, Knack somehow made its way to the bottom. Don't know how that happened. Beats me. Now we have a game that was one of the first for the PS4. It was a launch title, Killzone Shadowfall. I have somewhat nostalgic memories of this game, and I genuinely don't know why. I think it's because it's one of the first games where I was like, whoa, look at the graphics, like that is truly next gen. So I'm somewhat tempted to put it in the nice category, but I have gone back and played it. The gameplay's pretty poor, the story's pretty poor, and the multiplayer is truly shocking. I made a YouTube video however many years ago that, and I can't find it anywhere. If I could somehow find it, I'll insert it here, though it's highly unlikely I have. But yeah, I guess it was okay. It was okay, I guess. Now we have another PlayLink game. I don't know where to put this. Knowledge is power. I think with a lot of the PlayLink games, I have fond memories of it because I played it with my family. But Knowledge is Power is a pretty boring game. It tries to sort of be like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire minus all the money and fun. It's an alright game. Just nothing outstanding. Next up, we have another truly great game. Everyone, we're just going to take a second. Knack. Oh, Knack. Oh, Knack. We missed you. Come back. Oh, sweet Knack. Come back. Brings a tear to my eye what they did to my sweet baby. If they can finish the trilogy, I would love it, but I feel like they're not going to, so oh well. Next we have Medieval, a game I didn't play. Then we have about 3 more games I didn't play, so I'm just going to chuck them in here. MLB The Show, who the hell plays that? Medieval, who the hell has played that? I swear that's a remake of like the PS1 game. Neo 1 and 2, I have actually heard good things about them. As I've stated in another video, I'm not a big Soulsborne type game sort of fan, so it's not quite for me, but I'm sure they are great. Next up, we have a game that I've slightly dabbled in, not played too much, so I can't rate it fairly. Persona 5. I'm not a weeb, I promise. It was pretty cool, bit strange, pretty cool. Persona 5 Royal, it's the same game but with extra bits, so I'll just put it next to it. Even though I haven't played that, I was gonna buy it, but I couldn't get it, so yeah. Cool game, bit strange. If you don't like anime stuff, it's definitely not for you. I don't really like it, so that's why it sort of put me off. Next up, we have another PSVR game, PlayStation VR World. And it was pretty good. It was a good showcase of what PSVR had to offer. It was sort of the predecessor to Blood and Truth. However, I feel like the segment in PSVR Worlds was more memorable than Blood and Truth, which is odd. It also had some fun other little side games. It was fun. It was a good little VR game. It was free, at least for the bundle that I bought. I'm pretty sure it was free for everyone. For what it was pretty good. Next up, we have the first game in a series that is about to continue on the PS5, Ratchet & Clank I thought it was pretty good. It's the first Ratchet & Clank I've played, I must admit. The combat was very good. Obviously isn't made for someone like me. It's just not. It's very childish in its humour and stuff, but the combat was good. Graphics were beautiful. Very good game. I'm excited to see what they do in the next game. It's out in a couple of months. The motion sickness is back, boys. Turn it off, Riggs. Another game that was really cool, but I just could not play purely because it made me sick. It's funny how all the games that I really didn't like this generation were games that just made me sick. It just wasn't. It was good. Just as soon as I jumped up, I was like, I need to take my headset off before I throw up. No Man's Sky did it as well, though to a slightly lesser extent.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever Spider-Man can. Can he swing from a web? 'Cause he can. It's his thing. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Now, if you just heard my rendition of that, that's because I got copyright striked on the actual movie version. So I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm not even gonna risk it. I'm just gonna sing that and you're gonna have to put up with it. My beautiful singing has been put onto full show in this video. Spider-Man, what a great game. Well done, Insomniac. I loved it. It was fun, the combat was great, the story was a nice length. It wasn't a poor movie tie-in like most games are. This is one of the few times that I'm glad that Sony has the Spider-Man license, because they actually did good with it. Well done. Now, we've got a game, and I have no idea what this is. What the hell is this? I've never heard of this game in my life. I'm sort of interested and intrigued by it now. I kind of want to play it. I'm sorry if you enjoy that game and it's one of your favourite games. I really am. I've just messed up. Now, next up, we have The Last Guardian. It never lived up to the premise. It was a game that was teased for years, and then they finally made it. I think purely because of how long it took them to make, it just wasn't that good. It was a heartwarming story, but not a lot apart from that. Now, next up, we have a PSVR game that looks intriguing, and I'm surprised why I never heard of it. I wish I'd tried it now, because I tried pretty much everyone under the sun and none of them really caught my attention that well. The Inpatient. I like how my longest list out of all of these is hasn't played, and that just goes to show I played a lot of PS4 games, but there was still a long list of games that I just never got around to touching, and that goes to show more than anything just how well Sony did in the PS4 generation of creating games for all of us to play. And thankfully, due to the PS5's backwards compatibility, I can go back and play some of these games. If you guys suggest them in the comment and tell me that any of these games are good, or that I should give any of these games a second chance, I can go and do that still thanks to the PS5. So The Inpatient, God knows what the hell that is. Now, I have made some hot takes during my time on the Dr. Kid 1 channel. This is another one. Whoops! How did that go up there? Oh no, I've scrolled my thing out the way. I'm really sorry if you didn't see, but I put The Inpatient down there. The Last of Us Part 2. I loved it. There were little bits I didn't quite like, and the way the story went, I knew it was going to go that way. I didn't want it to go that way, but they pulled it off relatively well. The longer time passes, the less I do like it. So in a year's time, it will probably drop down a tier for me. It is nowhere near the levels of the original. If they could remaster, I know it's a bit too early to do it because the game's only 8 years old, but if they could remaster the original Last of Us, I might just take this all the way down to turn it off now. the one thing that I didn't like about the game was it wasn't even Abby, it was just the fact we were forced to play as her for so long. I wouldn't have even minded a chapter as her. I didn't even mind her character really, or her inclusion in the story. It was just the fact we were forced to play this character that we didn't really like for so long. And by the end, I still preferred Ellie to her. I'm not sure what they were trying to achieve by making us play as Abby. It was obviously to feel empathy towards her. The gameplay was great though, and the score was beautiful. I just hope they don't mess up the TV series. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are two really good actors, so I hope they can pull it off. They've got the writers from Chernobyl, so it could turn out very, very well. Neil Druckmann is producing and writing it as well. I would say I hope he doesn't mess it up, but he's the one that made the first game so great in the first place, so I can't blame him. There's always the first game, and we can't be annoyed with him because he made one of the best games ever made in the first one. So no matter what, even if he could make like 100 bad games, but he's still got The Last of Us, and I will thank him for that because it is my favourite game of all time. Last of Us Part 2, not quite as good, but I still think it's up there for me. It is still up there. Right, fanboying over The Order 1886. Yeah, another game I just have not played. Oh no, I might have to put it somewhere else. Because Knack's off the screen now. That is a problem. Yeah, we all know Knack's Knacker's down below. We have another game up next that for me is right up there, and you guys have probably never heard of it. It was a free PS Plus game. It's another PlayLink game. It's called That's You. It's just a fun little party game. Me and my family play it every single Christmas, every holiday. Whenever we have time, when we're all together, we'll play it. It's just so much fun. I don't even know how to describe the game. I don't think I want to. If you haven't played That's You, it was free on PS Plus, so check your library. You might have redeemed it without even knowing about it. Get your get your family and friends. You can all play it together. If not, I think it's £15 on the store, so go and check it out. It truly is one of my favourite games of the generation, which, hearing me say that sounds really odd, but it truly is really good. Next up, I think we have another masterpiece. I think. It's better than The Last of Us Part 2, so surely it's got to be. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. It's been like 6 years, 5 years since that came out, and it still is a really great game. If you go back and play it, it's a great end to the saga. I know they made The Lost Legacy, but the end of the Nathan Drake saga, if they want to create another one, they can. Just don't have Nathan Drake as the main protagonist. Have it as his daughter. If you really want, you could do Sam or Elena, just not Nate. I think his story is completed. I was happy with 3, you did 4 and you pulled it off. Don't push your luck, please. Don't do a Last of Us 2. Next up, we have a game that was a strange one. At the time, it was really popular, especially on YouTube, and retrospectively, I think it's sort of overlooked. Until Dawn, really great game. Doesn't have much replayability, and having thought about it, there's a game on here or two that are missing that I am going to have to just tell you about at the end. Additionally, we have Rush of Blood, which was another VR game that was alright. It was just a trench shooting simulator. Wasn't that fun. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as Iron Man and Rigso. So we have Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It was a bit too short for my liking. It was good, but I can't put it anywhere near as good as Infamous Until Dawn because it was just too short. We also have Wipeout: The Omega Collection, which was really fun. Surprisingly quite playable on VR. And then finally we have Yakuza 6, which I did not play. So that's the end of all the things I have available, but there are a few games that I've realised are missing that I will just fill you in on. Detroit Become Human is not here, and for me, it'll be in the same category as Until Dawn. It'll be nice. It's a really fun game. I platinumed it, had tons of fun whilst playing it. It was really great. If you haven't played it, go and check it out. I'm pretty sure it was another game that was free on PS Plus a while back, so go and check your catalogue. It could be there. And then finally, there's a game that would easily be in my second tier and potentially even be in my top tier, but I think it would just miss out. Horizon Until Dawn, for whatever reason, is not on this tier list, and I've just realised as I've got to the end, for me it was a really great open world game. The story was good, the lore of the world was interesting, the characters were great. Some things were slightly missing, the combat just wasn't quite for me, it wasn't as snappy as games such as God of War and Ghost of Tsushima. And thinking about it, I can only think of like two characters, Aloy and her father figure. It was a really great game. For me, it would go the very, very top end of Pass Me the Controller. It would go above Dreams. It'd be sat right here. So guys, that is it for my tier list. My throat is going again. Whenever I record videos, right towards the end, my throat starts to go and I can't speak properly. But that is it for me today. If you haven't already, let me know down below, what would your tier list be? Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified every single time that I go live or upload a brand new video, and make sure to like or dislike the video based on whether you liked or disliked it. But that has been it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.